evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Tuesdays with Terrence. My name is Terrence Bardui. Some people call me H, some people call me Havis, some people call me Terrence, and some people call me Mr. Bardui. Let's make it public. Let's make it public so that everybody can see. Let's make it public. It's public now. It's public now. Hope everyone's doing well. As people starting to come in, we're going to wait for a moment. But I'm so excited that you decided to join us tonight for Tuesdays with Terrence. I have a very special guest tonight. Very, very special guest. And I hope you people come on in groves tonight. Droves, I should say, not groves, but droves. Welcome to another episode of Tuesdays with Terrence. My name is Terrence Bardui. Some people call me H. Some people call me Havis. Some people call me Terrence. Some people call me Mr. Bardui. And some people call me Little Boy. That's Luca Boy, if you're from the 767. Whitey Kubuli, tall is her body, the Commonwealth of Dominica. I'm from the enclave of St. Luke's Parish, a.k.a. Point Michelle, a.k.a. La Puente. That's why they call me Luca Boy. Dominica made me. Boston raised me. Now the South sustains me. How are you beautiful people doing tonight? I am excited, man. I'm so excited. I hope everybody's excited. I hope you had a good New Year. We are actually on February the 4th, we'll be going to our 5th year of Tuesdays with Terrence. Every Tuesday, I come on at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and I talk about three things, and three things only: income protection, debt elimination, and legacy creation. Tonight, I have a very, very special guest, man. A very, very, very special guest. But, before I tell you a little bit about him, let me just take a look and see what happened in markets today. Some of you guys, my clients don't worry about that because let's see. Ooh, you all lost money. Oh, oh my gosh. The Dow Jones was down 178.20. The NASDAQ was down 375.30. That means my good friend probably lost about 6 to 10 grand because most of their 401ks in NASDAQ, which is tech stocks. And the S&P was down 66.35. But guess what? My clients don't worry because they sleep like a baby. This is how they sleep at night. Like a baby, because zero is the hero. I don't want to spend too much time talking and making all this small talk. I want to bring my guest on pretty quick. But before I do that, let me give a shout out. Let me see who's watching tonight so I can say hello. Robin Martin, all the way in the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina. Welcome. Miss Peach Goodwill watching as well. Good evening. And Valda, Mary Peltier, Brady, all the way in the Commonwealth of Dominica. Welcome. And for those of you else who are tuning in, people are tuning in wherever you are. Put in the chat where you are so I can give you a quick shout out. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to play our theme song to start. You don't have to be a star to be on my show, but I got a superstar tonight. We're going to play my theme song. And then after my theme song, I will introduce my guest, my special guest. My special guest, and start the show. So here goes our theme song. Come, family, come. You don't have to be a star to be on my show, but tonight I got a superstar.
Just your heart, and I'll help you win. Are you rejected or hurt? To me, your worth much more than you put in. Now I don't need no superstar, 'cause I'll accept you as you are. You won't be denied, 'cause I'm satisfied with the help that I can provide. You don't have to be rich family to be on my show. You don't have to have a million family to be on my show.
Boom. That was my baby sister, Miss Minna Thomas, all the way in Atlanta, Georgia, singing You Don't Have to Be Rich You don't have to be a star to be on my show. I got a superstar tonight, folks. Let me tell you guys something. It's really, really important that you do understand the importance of planning. For 2025, I want to make sure I bring the best guests that I can on the show. I know a lot of my clients have been asking me about wills and trusts and things of that nature. So therefore, I decided to bring an attorney on tonight. Let me tell you a little bit about him. Let me pull out his bio right here so I can read it to you. I want to pull it out and read it to you. And, let's see. It says here, my special guest, as you can see, it's scrolling down, like CNN, and right below my hands, you see, come down, you can see it scrolling. It says, Jackson Michael Doggette Jr. This is his bio right here. Jackson Michael Doggette Jr. is the solutions expert. He is a unique blend of a legal expert, a seasoned leader, and a dedicated minister. His diverse expertise and passion for helping pastors grow churches they love to lead have equipped them with a vision and a strategy for growing God's church in these uncertain times. He's the author of Retaining the Harvest, How to Attract, Engage, and Keep the People Who Join Your Ministry, and the creator of the Retaining the Harvest Masterclass. His preparation includes becoming an exceptional attorney who is an active member of 5 state bar associations: Pennsylvania, Maryland, DC, Virginia, and Florida. A federal court bar, a U.S. Supreme Court bar. His law firm, Doggette Law Firm, is an elder law firm that specializes in special needs estate planning, a firm that helps families preserve their treasures and legacies and live a rich and satisfying life. He's a member of the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys and the Elder Law College. He's a certified dementia developmental executive, a certified life coach, a certified diversity professional, a certified church consultant, a certified nonprofit executive. This guy is certified in everything. A certified nonprofit consultant and trained in financial planning. He is a member of the American Institute of Parliamentarians and a founding member of the current chairman of the board of the National Association of Nonprofit Organizations and Executives. He is trained in several other concentrations that give him a well-developed understanding of the law, people, business, the church, organizational development, and the nonprofit sectors. He's a dedicated ordained Seventh-day Adventist minister with more than 4 decades of distinguished leadership experience serving small and large congregations, hospital boards, committees at every church level, and in conference leadership positions. Attorney Doggette currently serves as the Allegheny East Conference Corporation of Seventh-day Adventists, which covers Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, the District of Columbia, and Virginia, where I'm at, and part of West Virginia. As the first in-house general counsel of a regional conference in the history of Seventh-day Adventist Church, as the public affairs and religious liberty director, and as stewardship director. Attorney Doggette is a man of diverse interests. Outside of his professional life, he enjoys reading, riding his Harley Davidson motorcycle and trek road bike, and performing on his soprano and tenor saxophones. He is very happily married to Celia Doggette, and they have 3 wonderful adult children, David, Jacqueline, and Jackson III, as well as 2 grandchildren, Vivian and Charles. He's an elder law special needs planning attorney. Now, just before I bring him on, let me unmute him. I want to give him a little music to introduce him. Let me get my music set up, folks. Let me get my music. You guys know I'm the DJ, I'm the host, I'm the everything. But let me put him on, and let's put his picture on so you guys can see. This is where he is. He has a gorgeous smile. Let's give him a solo shot. Let's give him a solo shot. And this is the intro song. No. That's not the solo song. That's my intro song. Man, I'm a lousy DJ tonight. I'm so excited because I got Jackson Doggette here with me tonight. There you go. You ready? There it comes. He got so much to say.
Gotta make this quick. Gotta make it stick. So listen up, won't you give it to him? Get so much to say, so little time. So taking this alone, only got about a minute. Oh, 30 seconds in it, and that's just me. I got some time, so much like a story. Oh, there wasn't no time for excessive chat. There's so much to say, so little.
So much to say. That's take six. And you probably know some of these guys personally. I've met a few of them. I know some of their parents, but Jackson Michael Doggett Jr. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
Can you hear me?
I'm doing great.
You
I'm
doing
well
great?
entertained.
You're well entertained. Well, people are saying welcome, welcome, welcome. Tuesdays with Terrence. People are excited. I'm trying to be on my. Let me tell you something, man. I have this huge ego, and I think you know that already. I want to control everything. I want to control the music. I want to be the producer, the content creator, the posting, everything, because that way, if anything falls down, I take full responsibility. So tonight, I just read your bio. I just told these people all about you, man. You told me a little story. I think you're from Tennessee originally. Can you tell us a little bit about your background? You got about a minute to tell us about your background, where you're from, where you grew up, about a minute or two. You want to do that for us?
Sure. I was born in Ardmore, Oklahoma, actually. I was raised in California, the Los Angeles area mostly, and in Memphis, Tennessee. So those are the two places I spent most of my formative years until I went to college at Oakwood. It was Oakwood College. Now it's Oakwood University in Huntsville, Alabama. I went from there to Los Angeles. I started my ministerial career in Los Angeles. I ended up going to, uh, actually, I went to seminary in Berrien Springs, Michigan, and went to, where did I go next? Indiana. Then I went to Florida. I was in Florida for a while. I served as chief legal officer for the Florida Hospital in Florida. Then came back to pastoring in Los Angeles. Ended up in Pennsylvania, and now I'm in Maryland. So it's been a journey.
Wow, wow, that is beautiful, man. So, I just read all these things here about you. And Tuesdays with Terrence, basically what I do, I talk about the same thing all the time. I talk about income protection, debt elimination, and legacy creation. And, looking at your bio, that's pretty extensive, as I put it up again on my iPad, I'm looking at it and, man, you do a lot of things.
Well, the reason
But,
that happened,
but
oh, go ahead.
I'm interested. Go ahead. No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the reason that happened, my grandmother told me something. She said, learn everything you can because you never know when you might need it. And I took that to heart. That's one of the three lessons I picked up as a kid. My father taught me the difference between principles and rules. Rules change, principles don't. And my mother uh, taught me find a need and fill it. So those three things have governed my life, really. And I don't know why those three things stuck, but they did.
Well, that's awesome. Well, let's start with, I want to save the estate planning for last. Um, what is special needs, though? I mean, I have an idea what it is, but special needs law. What? Could you break that down for us a little bit? What exactly is that, sir?
Well, using politically correct terms, those that have um, uh, disabilities, unable to sometimes take care of themselves or are limited in being able to take care of themselves, needing extra help. Um, these are things that would cause a person to have special needs. Um, it's important that people be able to be taken care of. And there are instruments that can help qualify individuals or strategies, I should say, backed up by instruments that can help individuals to qualify for government benefits that will help them to be able to live a rich and satisfying life.
Okay. Well, I like that. I like that. Special needs. You have to use the proper terminology nowadays so we don't insult anyone. I totally understand. So if someone needed a special needs attorney, why should they call you?
Because I'm good at what I do. That's why they should call me.
Ooh, I like that, man. I like that because you're good at what you do. You know, I know that from dealing with you through church. I've seen you at constituency meetings. You know, I was there. I was a delegate. I've seen you come to our church and do conference. I mean, seminars for us as well. I've seen you preach as well, and we've hosted you at church, for lunch and everything. So I know what you can do, but this is something I want to talk about that's important. We want to spend a few minutes on this one. Elder law attorney. Now, a lot of people don't believe that the elderlies are preyed upon. Preyed, not Pray. I've seen it. I've heard about it. I've kind of experienced it with some of my clients. And I think sometimes people don't realize how vulnerable the elderly can be, as they may have a cognitive impairment or something like that. And how valuable is it, sir, that with people with assets, and we'll talk about trust and wills in a little bit, but people with assets, especially if they're an elderly person, that they should seek some counsel on elder law?
Well, there are several areas of elder law. The area that I focus in is on helping people to protect their life savings so that they can get long-term care, accessing, qualifying for, I should say, and obtaining government benefits to help pay for long-term care. That's what I focus on. But there is also elder abuse. There are those who focus on protecting those who are being taken advantage of in various ways, in nursing homes or in other various ways. So it's trying to make sure that those we would classify as elderly, and it depends on who you are as to what you call an elderly person. But I'll tell you a quick joke. One of my nephews was very young, and another relative was shuffling some cards, playing with him Uno or something. And that individual kind of messed up shuffling. And this young boy said, "Oh, that's okay. It's hard for the elderly sometimes." So elderly is in the eye of the beholder. But yes, the whole point is to protect and help those who are vulnerable to be taken care of. And of course, you don't want persons to have to go
And I hear you.
through the indignity of a conservatorship or a guardianship, if you can avoid it. And pre-planning will help you avoid that.
And I hear you loud and clear. I have clients who are elderly. I remember I used to have a client who was in her 90s, and she thought she was like 60s. And this client, I know for a fact, I was trying to write her long-term care back in 2008 or 9. I'm going back some years now. And she was declined. But she did not, back then she wasn't in her 90s back then. But she didn't disclose everything to me about her health. So she was declined. And I told her, well, the insurance company's not going to tell me why you declined, but they'll tell you. And she said, "Oh, I know why." But anyways, this individual, sometimes would have left their pocketbook in the carriage, in the supermarket, and different things that people bring to the home, and different things like that. I want you to touch a little bit on why is it paramount that if a family member realizes that someone may have a cognitive impairment, why is it so important that they have someone in charge of their affairs? Could you touch on that for us, please?
Well, it is important that while a person does not have a cognitive impairment, that they make decisions about who they want helping them in the event that they need that help. Often people wait until it is too late to make decisions like that. And like I said, then they end up going through the indignity of conservatorship or guardianship. It costs a lot of money. It really it can be a demeaning process. So planning ahead when you don't need the help is very, very important. I say to everybody, once you reach adulthood, where if it's 18 in your state, you need to start your estate plan because you do not know when you will be injured and not die, or you could be disabled because of a car accident or something. And you will need some assistance. You need to start planning for those events you hope will never happen to you. But that's what accidents are. Nobody plans on that.
It's so funny you say that. I want to say welcome to everyone who's tuning in tonight. I want to say welcome to Elizabeth Bardui, my cousin all the way in Brooklyn, New York. Venus, the ABR Queen in Maryland. Alvin Vassar from Shiloh in Petersburg, Virginia, and all the others who are watching. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. My special guest is attorney Jackson Michael Doggette Jr. And we're talking about a plethora of things tonight. We're talking about not just elder care or special needs. We'll be talking about estate planning. We might talk a little bit about wills and trusts. He just said from the time you become an adult, whatever state, most states is 18, you have to start thinking about planning because you don't know when you may become incapacitated. And sometimes people wait till it's too long. I was talking to a couple of clients of mine in Virginia, actually two sisters. I hope they're watching. And I talked to them about, having a trust or a will. Well, not necessarily a will, but a trust because they have substantial assets. I believe personally, if you have $100,000 or more of assets, you need a trust. Some people say it's less. That's what I believe. Because governmental assistance, usually you need to spend down for Medicaid, you have to spend down to $2,000 or less, so you can qualify for Medicaid. So what would you say to people who, well, I got a will, and a will can be contested. I'm not an attorney, but I know that. But you can't contest the trust. How important it is for individuals, not just people who may have a family member who has a cognitive impairment or may have some issues, that they realize they have to plan and set up a trust and usually financial planning in that spectrum.
Well, let's talk about that. First of all, the state has a will for you if you don't have a will. In state statutes, they say what will happen to your assets if
That's
you
right.
don't do anything. There are some people who are okay with that. I question why they would be okay with that, but there are those who are okay with that. Okay, whatever the statute says, I'm fine with it. I don't have anything anyway. And again, I say, you don't know what you will have. Let's talk about a will, which is only a death document. Doesn't do you any good while you're alive. It says what you want done once you are no longer here. You don't know how you're going to die. And you don't know what you will actually have in your estate when you die. You have no idea. Your current circumstances. I'll give you an example. What would happen if a wrongful death suit is won by your estate because a Walmart truck killed you? You don't know what you're going to have. So I would encourage people to not make the decision to do nothing and let the state say what's going to happen with your assets. But that's a choice. You can do nothing. The second thing is you need to decide whether or not you want a will, and an attorney would help you think through this, but is a will sufficient for your planning? In most cases, I would say the answer is no. What is a will? A will, different people say different things. It's a lawsuit you file against yourself that costs you a lot of money and you don't really benefit. But that's tongue in cheek. There are disadvantages to a will, and you need to talk to an estate planning attorney to get those disadvantages. There are disadvantages to only having a will. It can be contested, as you said. It is a public document, which means anybody can go take a look at it. And there are people who spend their life going down to the courthouse, seeing who's getting what from an estate, and then preying, P-R-E-Y, preying on the people who are inheriting with all kinds of schemes to steal their money. I mean, it happens. It's a public document, etc. A trust, a revocable living trust, and there are a lot of different kinds of trusts, so I'm not going to try to talk about all of them, but a revocable living trust is a private document. If you choose to have a revocable living trust, you would also most likely, and I would recommend, you would have a pour over will. So the will basically would, if you have to title things in the name of the trust to, quote, fund the trust. A trust is a piece of paper that means nothing if you don't fund it. And a lot of people get a trust and don't fund it. They don't title their assets in the name of the trust. And therefore it didn't do them any good. But a pour over will capture what you did not put in the trust and pour it over into the trust. And if you do it properly, there'll be no probatable estate. It won't be a public thing for the world to see. It's private. You could transfer your assets in the office of your attorney. So there are a lot of advantages to a revocable living trust. There are other documents that you need because estate planning is not about death. Estate planning is about making sure you have the assistance you need during your life. So another group of documents I would recommend you need to decide who's going to make healthcare decisions for you if you're in a position where you cannot. You need to decide who's going to take care of your finances if you're in a position where you cannot. So you need to decide if you're a parent with young children, minor children. You need to decide who will take care of your children if you're in a position where you cannot. And that does not mean you're dead. It could mean you're in the hospital and they find out you have children at home and the foster care system takes them until you can come back and get them. So there are a lot of things, and I see a lot of young couples who don't think they need to, or more accurately, can't agree with who is going to take care of the children. So in my office, I talk through how you decide who's going to take care of your children. What do you need to think about beyond just the names of the people, but the circumstances under which you want your children raised, etc. So there's a lot about life that you need to plan. After you die, you won't know what's going on anyway.
True. I'm so glad you said that. I want to say welcome to everyone who's tuning in. My special guest is attorney Jackson Michael Doggette Jr., who specializes in elder care law. He specializes in special needs and, legacy planning as well. But, I want to say welcome to Valine Matthew, all the way in the Commonwealth of Dominica, who's watching tonight. Mr. Troy Holt, all the way Pensacola, Florida. Welcome, Miss June Bardui, my big sister in Boston, Massachusetts, and everybody else who's watching tonight. If you guys don't say hello, I can't give you a shout out. I have a very special guest, and some of you need to be taking notes on what's happening there, because I do have some clients that I know who needs to talk to someone like Jackson M. Doggette Jr. And folks, it's really important. There's a question in the chat that I think I want to. I think I know the answer, but I want to ask you. I said a will can be contested. That I know for a fact. But Venus, the ABR Queen, Stevens in Maryland, she says, "I heard you can contest a trust, but it will be challenging." Is that true?
Yes, you can contest a trust, but you're going to pay for the contest as opposed to the estate, like what would happen if you challenge a will. So, yeah, you can challenge a trust, but most people won't for several reasons. Number one, most people won't know what's in the trust, and they don't have a right to know what's in the trust. It's not a public document, it's a private document. If you find out what's in the trust and don't like it, it's almost nothing you can do about it. So you can sue if you want to, but you're probably not going to win if it's drafted properly. So there are advantages to having a trust.
Exactly. And that's what I thought. I think people need to realize, folks, a will is a public thing, and I always tell people that if you have $2 million worth in life insurance, right, and there's a beneficiary, well, it doesn't matter what your will says. On life insurance, the beneficiary is the beneficiary, and that's the person who's going to get the proceeds. But if you have other assets, some people may have, I don't know, chairs and clothing and cars and this and that. But you made a valid point, Jackson, earlier that I want to go back to. You talked about people having a trust, but nothing is in it. I had a colleague when I worked in South Carolina. She lived on a mountain, and everything was in her trust. They had a plane, they had a home. She was driving she was 80-something years old. And I admire, she's German. She was driving a Volkswagen Golf, 6-speed. Boy, she handled that and even that was in the trust. She was like the Rockefellers. They owned everything. They owned everything. They controlled everything, but owned nothing. I keep talking about that all the time. I keep telling people to control everything but own nothing, because when you have personal assets, the wealthy do it all the time, but you don't have to be a millionaire or billionaire to do that. And most people own a home, most people own a car, some people have bank accounts and different things. How important, again, is it for individuals to understand that having those assets owned by their trust is paramount, and they should do that?
Well, you don't get the benefit of the trust if you don't title your assets into the trust. You don't get the benefit of the trust. So that's why you need to do it. Now, there are all kinds of trusts. There are revocable and irrevocable trusts. And we're not going to go into the details of those. There are a lot of different trusts with a lot of different reasons to have them. But generally speaking, for the general public, one of the reasons you want to trust is for control. You want to be able to control what's going to happen with your assets, etc., without a judge telling you. I ask people, did a judge tell you what to eat for breakfast this morning? Then why would you want a judge to say what's going to happen with your assets?
And lots of times it's ignorance. People don't know. And that's why I bring guests like you to come and educate the public, and that some of you will know. As you all can see, his information is scrolling down at the bottom. Now, what I always tell, when I bring guests on my show, I bring them to give you information. You have to do your own research. Go on his website, call his office. We don't endorse anything. We don't discourage anything. What we do, we bring people on. If I don't trust you, you're not on my show. I trust him explicitly, and that's why he's on there. So yeah, give him a call. But anyways, for those of you who are watching, welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. My name is Terrence Bardui. My special guest is Jackson Michael Doggette Jr. He's an attorney, a minister, and a brilliant man. And we're talking about, legacy creation and protecting your assets and things like that. But you know what, Jackson? Sometimes people don't want to take advice because now everybody do take advice on TikTok, right? TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Like once I was telling someone the other day, like someone, a client of mine wanted to go somewhere else and was telling me, oh, they found somebody else, and give me all this cockamamie story. And I was like, what they were telling me was foolishness. If you want to go somewhere else, go. But please don't insult my intelligence, because I'm very thorough. I know what I say. I know what I did. I know what I planned for you, why we did it. And I've showed you, you've learned things with me that you didn't know you had. And I've taught you. So if you don't like me because you don't like my big mouth, you don't like my face, my glasses, you don't like me, that's fine. Do that, but don't insult my intelligence. So my question to you is, when people say, well, I'll do my own research, and they go on TikTok, why would you discourage that and just reading something on Google? Because Google don't have a law degree, neither does TikTok, right?
What people pay me for is not documents. People pay me for my guidance and my advice, the knowledge that I have. So you can go online and get any kind of document you want. You can Google search it and take it, but do you know how to use it properly? Do you know why you need a particular document with particular clauses in it? That's why you need to talk to somebody like me to guide you based on your circumstances and not based on price. That's a lot of people say you're too expensive. Well, I'm too expensive until you make that mistake.
I'm glad you said that. It's so funny. I'm glad you said that. I want to say welcome to CC Latham all the way in Rose Sharon, Texas. My esteemed client, Hawaii. I'm glad that you tuned in to Tuesdays with Terrence. My special guest is attorney Jackson M. Doggette Jr. We're talking about the reasons why you need to have a trust, why you need to do financial planning, and why you need to do this, because it's really important that a lot of you guys hear what I say. Some of you don't listen. Some of you do listen, and some of you take my advice. But tonight, we're just having a winter night conversation. It's cold all over the country. Even Florida, it's cold. It was 34 degrees in St. Augustine, Florida this morning. So it's cold all over. You guys are Netflix and chilling? No. Tuesdays with Terrence and chilling. That's what we're doing tonight. Jackson, I'm glad you said that. People always say, well, like, people always want to know what's the family price or the I know you price. But we never go to Macy's and ask them for their price. We just pay the price that they have. And I think it's important that individuals and people know that, good advice could save you a lot of money, a lot of grief, a lot of trouble. Even in situations, even in life, there's divorces and stuff. If you have a good attorney, look at Michael Jordan. I remember his wife, got 150 million. Other places, people get $500 million. My point I'm trying to make here is having an attorney who's competent and know what they're talking about and licensed and can assist you is something you should be doing. And, I think sometimes stop looking for price and start looking for content and looking for quality. So moving right along with our topic tonight, I'm a licensed life insurance agent in every state that you're licensed in, and a lot more than that, about 23 states. So the importance, I talk to people about life insurance all the time, and there's some Christians who always talk about, oh, well, God will protect me. And I have a colleague, Dr. Lena Nehemiah, who always says, well, God will protect you, but was there Tylenol in the Bible? You use Tylenol now. What would you say to people who don't realize the importance of financial planning? The importance of financial planning. But I always say every house has a foundation. And I say if your financial planning does not have insurance as a base, it's flawed. Because I just gave you guys what the stock market did, and I can look at it again. The Dow was down, the S&P was down today. Okay. So you all lost money in your 401ks. And I'm not here to tell you what to do with your 401ks. The Dow was down 178.20, the NASDAQ down 375.30, the S&P down 66.35. But you know what? The only thing I know that's guaranteed, as long as your premiums are paid, if something happens to you, is life insurance. So what would you say to people who are talking about, well, I don't know about life insurance. I'm licensed, and that's what I do. So I make a living. So I do believe in it, but not because I'm licensed, but because I see the value. And you're not going to talk about the different types of life insurances, and we're not doing that. We're just talking about how paramount is it for income protection for people. Like if something happens to someone, that their family can be protected. What would you say to the masses watching tonight about that, sir?
I would say one of the first pillars of financial planning is guard against financial loss. Life insurance helps you to guard against loss. Life insurance kicks in when you die. And that means you have been X'd out. The income that you were providing to your family is no longer coming in. So you're guarding against financial loss when you use life insurance. Yes, God will protect you and all of that, but the Bible is very clear. Everybody who's living is going to die.
Amen.
Unless, so at some point, you're not going to be here. And I know a lot of people don't like to talk about it because they think if they talk about it, it'll happen sooner. Even though that's not true, I understand the superstition. The bottom line is most people learn about money from watching their parents or whoever raised them. And most people don't know much about money. So having a financial advisor is very helpful as you learn how to manage money and how money works in a capitalistic society.
It's so funny. It's so funny you said that. It's so funny you said that because a lot of people, sometimes our parents, I believe, did the best did the best that they know how. My dad used to save money like crazy. I remember in Boston as a kid, teenager, my dad, all the places where they had parties, he'd go and get cans and bottles and turn them in and made money. I remember years and years ago, I need to borrow some money from my dad. I flew up to Boston. And he probably said, if you're broke, well, how can you fly up to Boston, right? I would have paid back the money at the end of the month because I know I was going to get it. I wanted about $1,300 or $1,500. And my father had a rule, when he doesn't lend you nothing. If you want $100, he don't have it, but he'll give you 20. Because if you never got the 20 back, he doesn't worry because, you can get the rest. So he wanted to give me $200. And I was like, I just went to the bank and helped him with his passport. And he had multiple accounts. And one of those accounts had 30 grand in it. And you couldn't lend me $1,500. But I heard that Mark Brown, he told a story. He was at the Falls Church at New Life in Maryland. He said he had a similar story. And he said his dad told him one time, "You'll figure it out." And the point I give that little story is that we don't value, or we don't see the value of money when it's not ours. And I think it's important that for everyone to realize you have to plan accordingly. And sometimes life happens, and it does. That's why with life insurance, people say, well, nowadays they don't even know this life insurance you don't have to die to use. It's called living benefits. We use that. And critical illness is paramount all over. Cancer, lupus, if someone become a quadriplegic, angioplasty, brain aneurysm, blindness, a hope, strokes. I mean, I have a young friend who has suffered a stroke at 44. My best friend in South Carolina suffered a stroke in his 40s as well. So those things happen, and people, you can use life insurance for that as well. But moving right along, you just gave us a great tip by telling people, understanding the capitalistic society of America. People don't even understand wealthy families like the Rockefellers use life insurance, to build wealth. Although he did a lot of his wealth through Standard Oil back in the day. You know, they use life insurance. Every Rockefeller that's born, they get a big life insurance policy where the trust is the owner and the trust is the beneficiary. And then when you die, whoever dies, there's money to do financial transactions for the family. So, Jackson, I know of someone right now. I have a client right now. I've suspected that they have a cognitive impairment. And, you know, I haven't addressed it because it's not my business to do that. I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose. But if you keep asking me the same thing over and over and over, I'm thinking maybe something is wrong. In a situation like that, how would you advise family members to confront is a bad word, but talk to that individual to show them that they may need someone to stand in place for them? What would you suggest, and how would one go about doing that if you suspect that?
Well, first, let me thank you for correcting my misstatement with regard to life insurance, because there are other uses for life insurance other than just replacing your income when you die. So thank you for correcting that. One of the things I try to stress to everyone is don't wait until somebody else has to talk with you about the need to plan. When that happens, often that person thinks you are now trying to take advantage of them. And they are often very resistant to doing what they need to do to protect themselves because they're suspicious of you. So the best thing to do is start the conversation before you think they have that problem. Now, let's say now you're in the situation where you believe they have some cognitive decline. If you can get them to a doctor's to address it, that's one of the things that I would highly recommend that you do, so that they will have a clear path for moving forward. In terms of going and getting the planning done, I'm an attorney, I'm not a doctor. So if a person comes and they may have some decline, and often older people will come when they have some decline, it is important, at least for me, to make sure that I am documenting exactly what conversations we're having, what their frame of mind was while we were having, because many people who have the beginnings of dementia, let's say, do have periods of clarity. So you have to be able to, at least for me, document that they're able to make a decision and why you believe that they were clear enough to do it. Again, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not evaluating a person's medical condition. I'm evaluating whether or not a reasonable person can believe this person can make that decision. Now, if it gets to a certain point, yes, you need to bring doctors in and they need to say whether or not they have the ability to make certain decisions. But it's not the family member's decision about what that individual chooses to do, unless and until a court says you have that ability. It's still their right to make decisions.
So what I'm hearing, and I agree with you because I'm not a doctor, so I know nothing about, but I can tell certain things. Being in the industry for so long, I've seen clients whose cognitive has declined. So what you're suggesting is that people can have conversations, find creative ways to have conversations. And there's a trust factor there as well. Because if I don't trust you, I don't care what you say, whether I'm cognitively impaired or not, I'm not going to, you John Doe or Jane Doe can just come and tell you. You have to have some form of relationship. And I believe that's key, especially when there's substantial assets to protect. Like you said earlier, if someone doesn't have much assets or don't have any, and the person gets really sick and they end up in a nursing home or someplace through Medicaid, it is what it is. But when it's substantial assets and you have family members, you have to think about, and I think you just gave me a suggestion, man. And man, I'm gonna have to start paying you, because I need to start telling all my clients, just get a trust. All of them with assets, just get one and have it there. And if something happens to you, there's a successor trustee. But like you said, I think there's over 75 or 78 different kinds of trusts. And I'm not an attorney, a trust person, so there's no way I'm going to tell you which ones you have or you should get or not get. But it's important that people understand that you need financial planning. You need to have a trust, a living revocable trust, whatever kind of trust you need. And again, don't ask me which one you should get. Now, I can help you find someone who can tell you which one's the best for you, but I'm not the guy to tell you, this one is better than that one for you. So I hear you saying that, have the conversations early, talk about it early, build that rapport and that trust, because people don't want to be preyed upon, PREYED upon either. And it's something that we have to do. So, our time is running away from us, man. We only have 9 minutes. I do have a client at 8:15 I have to get to in South Carolina. But, as someone says, great topic tonight. Felicia, how you doing? Welcome. And to all of you who are watching Tuesdays with Terrence, my special guest this evening is Jackson M. Doggette Jr. He's an elder law, special needs and estate planning attorney. And he's licensed in multiple states. He's licensed in the District of Columbia, Florida, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and what we're doing here is just giving you information that you can start thinking about so that you can plan appropriately for yourself and for your family. Why? Because life happens. So Jackson, we talked on a bunch of things. We talked about life insurance. We talked about, wills. We talked about trust. We talked about, if someone has a cognitive impairment. As our time is coming to a close here, I asked you earlier, why should people call you? You said, because I'm good at what I do. I love the confidence, especially the confidence of a Black man. I just get excited because I talk the same way. I told clients all the time, I used to tell them, you may find someone better looking than me, but you will never find someone who's as good as me. and they look at me like crazy. And then when I'm with my agents and I'm training, I'll tell them, well, you're the smart one. I'm the better looking one. So I use those things interchangeably, especially where I'm at. So listen to this. As we come into a close, you specialize, and I just talked about the different, elder law, special needs, estate planning, and so forth. If people needs to contact you, it's scrolling down here. Should they hesitate? Should they call you right away? Maybe they're in a different state. Maybe you have a contact of someone you can do that. Could they do that if they needed to?
Sure. They could contact me and I can help connect them to somebody who can help them. If I might, though, I would like to share.
In closing, and we have some time here. We have 8 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to share some best practices when people think about estate planning. Number one,
please do.
You should have some backups for the different roles that you ask people to play. For instance, if you have a financial power of attorney, if you have healthcare agent, if you have an executor or a personal representative, depending what it's called in your state, you should have backups for these people. And if the primary person is about your age, you probably should have a backup that's younger than you. The second thing is you should communicate with your loved ones about what your wishes are, so that they know, even if you don't plan on time and there's some cognitive decline, they will know what you really would want. You should share that with them. You should check your state's laws. If you change states, if you have an estate plan and you move to another state, you need to have your estate plan reviewed, because different states have different laws, and some things might apply that you have in your estate and some things might not. Remember your pets. If you have pets, you want to remember them in your estate plan. Who's going to take care of them and how are they going to finance that? You should share with your healthcare providers so that they know what that you have these documents and they're able to rely upon them as they're providing you care. You should put your assets in your trust if you have a trust. I cannot overemphasize that, because I know so many people who don't. Now, at our firm, we help you do it, but most places they'll draft a document for you and then leave it up to you to put your assets in there. And a lot of times it never happens. And then finally, you should review and update your documents regularly. It's not a one and done, because your circumstances can change. People get married, people get divorced, people have children. All kinds of life changes happen, and you need to be making changes as these changes happen in your life, because the documents are there to serve your wishes. You're not there to serve those documents. I wanted to share that.
Wow, this guy's brilliant, man. I know he was brilliant, but tonight he just brought it for me. His name, his name is Jackson Michael Doggette Jr. He's an attorney, a minister, but most importantly, a man of God, an elder law special needs estate planning attorney, and he's licensed in multiple states. Folks, I just wanted to start of the year, bring someone, that's a lot more knowledgeable than me on the subject matter of estate planning. I know there's a company that I work with for that as well, and they're probably watching tonight because I told them you were going to be on. But one of the important things, folks, and he said it to you over and over, it doesn't matter. People get married, people get divorced, you may have pets in different states. Make sure that you're just like, you know how you go for your annual physical every year? Like my clients, I try to have a review with them. Some of them, they want to have reviews. Things change. I had a client who had a beneficiary, and the beneficiary had died. So what happens? If you die, that money is going to go to that beneficiary's estate, not even your kid or whomever could get it. And you have to understand law. And like he said earlier, did the judge tell you what to eat this morning? If he didn't tell you, why you want the judge or the courts telling you what to do? I always tell people, and I make a joke about it all the time, a life insurance is a poor man's trust. All right? You can't contest life insurance. You can't. But life insurance is not all. Because what about all the other assets that you have? I have a client in Texas right now. Her life insurance is in her trust, owns it, and the beneficiary is the trust. She's the executor. Her husband is the successor trustee or whatever. My point I'm trying to make here, folks, you have to plan and you have to do it sooner, not later. Because what? Life happens. Folks, his name is Jackson Michael Doggette Jr. His information is scrolling down. You guys can always contact me if you want to get his number. Go on his website, look at it, his firm, ask questions, call him up. Pay for what you want, pay for what you need. Alvin says, does he has a book? Yes, Alvin, he has multiple books, and some of them was at Shiloh. When he was at Shiloh, he had some books. Alvin, I'll get you his information so you can purchase his books. All right. So, closing thought, sir. 1 minute closing thought. What would you say to us?
I would say if you're an adult, you need to plan. You don't know what tomorrow will bring, and you need to have the assistance necessary for you to live what I would call a rich and satisfying life. Don't wait until it's too late like most people do. Plan now. Spend a little money to make sure that you are covering yourself and protecting your family so that you are what we would call a good steward of what God has put in your hands.
His name is Jackson M. Doggette Jr. My name is H. Terrence Bardui. Hey, Jackson, hold on the line for me for a moment as we close. Say bye-bye to the people. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. You know, folks, you guys heard what happened tonight. You just got some good advice for free, right? So now you want to know more? Contact him. And you have to pay for it, all right? So listen, the show is called Tuesdays with Terrence. My name is H. Terrence Bardui. Some people call me H. Some people call me Havis. Some people call me Terrence. Some people call me Mr. Bardui. And some people call me Little Boy. If you're from the 767, Whitey Kubuli, tall as a body, the Commonwealth of Dominica, you call me Luku Boy. Dominica made me. Boston raised me. Now the South sustains me. Folks, I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. As we play our theme song, you don't have to be a star to be on my show. God bless you. Go back and listen to the show. His stuff is scrolling. You want to get his number. If you didn't get it, call me up. You know how to get in touch with me. When you guys need something, you'll be hitting me up. So hit me up for this too as well. God bless you. Good night, everybody. God bless you. Bye-bye. Like and share. Like and share. We're going into our 5th year. Tuesdays with Terrence. God bless you. Good night, everybody. Bye, family. Bye.